Hello, this is Mrs. Hadaway again. The last video was on comparing and ordering integers. This video will also be on comparing and ordering integers. This is part 2, and we are going to talk more about comparing and ordering more integers at one time. So if we have a whole list of integers and we want to put them in order, say from least to greatest, we need to think about putting all of them in order as opposed to putting just two of them or comparing just two of them. So again, we're going to look at our number line. Zeros in the middle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And you can see from our two problems we have here that the first problem, most of these numbers would go on this short number line. But then our second problem, we have numbers that none of them would go on this number line. And we have to think to ourselves, what would we do? Would we have a number line that would have 452 and -79, -452 and -79 on that number line? Would we want to draw a number line that would be so big we would do that? Most often the answer would be no. And so we would have to think, what could we do? And a couple of options we would have would be to draw a number line and skip the numbers so that we would have a shorter number line, or we could draw a number line that didn't have 0 in the middle and it would have only negative numbers. We would have a couple of different options. One option is to not draw a number line, but to just know our number line well enough that we would know where the numbers would go. So let's just start thinking through some of our options. Let's go to our first problem here and let's look at what our numbers are. We do have positive and negative numbers and we have 0. So we know that our positive numbers are going to be bigger than 0. Our negative numbers are going to be smaller. We also know that when we start looking at the negative numbers, the larger absolute value that the negative number has, the smaller the negative number is. So we know that C5 has a high absolute value. So we know that 12 is going to be a small number if we're going from least or smallest to greatest. 12 is going to be our smallest. So -12 is going to be our first. I'm going to X it out. Then our next smallest number is going to be -9. It's kind of like being in backwards world or backwards day as long as I'm dealing with negative numbers. Then I have -8. And now I don't have any more negative numbers. So now I have my 0 and my positive numbers. So I have to think, what is my next smallest number? Is 2 or 0 smallest? Well, now we know it's 0. And then I know I've got 5, 2, and 10. So of course it's 2, then 5, then I have 10. So now this one is complete and I can box my answer. Now I get down here to the trickier problem and I have to look at these. Well, -29, that's a very small number, but then I look at -452, that's a very small number. Then I have 364, well, that's a positive number. That's a big number. -411, -320, -279, and -79. So all of those other numbers are negative. So what do I know about these? Well, I know that must be my biggest number. So this is my largest. I know that now. Now I have to look and see, now what is my smallest number? And if all of them are negative, I want the biggest absolute value. The biggest absolute value is going to be this one because it has the biggest number, but it's a negative. So I know that negative 452 is my largest absolute value. So I'm taking that out now. Now I have to look for my next largest absolute value, and there it is, 411. So negative 411, and I can take it out. My next largest absolute value is this, but it's positive, so I know I can't count it. So my next largest absolute value is this one, negative 320, and I can take it out. Negative 297, I can take it out. A negative 79, a negative 29, and now I can put my 364, which is a positive number, and these are complete. Write in writing, in words, use your words, and tell me how we completed these two problems. Then write an easy, a more difficult, and a much more difficult problem for a friend to solve in your notebook for the reflection of this problem, of this lesson. Thank you for your attention.